Welcome, dear brothers and sisters. It's a pleasure to be with you to study together the Watchtower Study for the weekend meeting, September 20th to 21st, 2025. Let's begin our consideration of the paragraphs. Paragraph 1. How can we make wise decisions and have our plans succeed? We can make wise decisions and succeed in our plans when we are humble enough to seek advice. Proverbs 13:10 shows that pride leads to arguments, but those who listen to counsel gain wisdom. Also, Proverbs 15:22 says that plans fail without consultation, but succeed when there are many advisors. This means that instead of relying only on ourselves, we should look for guidance from Jehovah's Word, mature brothers and sisters, and the congregation arrangement. By doing so, we invite Jehovah's blessing, and that is what makes our decisions truly successful. Paragraph 2. What does Jehovah promise to do for us? Jehovah promises not only to give us advice, but also to personally care for us. Psalm 32:8 shows that He guides us with His eye upon us, meaning He pays close attention to our individual needs. He doesn't just provide counsel. He lovingly helps us to understand and apply it so that we succeed in making wise choices. Paragraph 3. What will we consider in this article? In this article, we will consider 4 important questions. What qualities we need in order to benefit from advice, who can give us good advice, how we can keep an open mind and heart, and why we should avoid asking others to make decisions for us. By reflecting on these points, we can learn how to make wise choices that please Jehovah. Paragraph 4. If we are to benefit from good advice, what qualities must we have? We must have humility and modesty. These qualities help us recognize that we do not have all the wisdom or experience to make good choices on our own. Micah 6:8 and 1 Peter 5:5 show that Jehovah favors the humble but resists the proud. If we lack humility, Bible-based counsel may not penetrate our heart. But when we are truly humble and modest, we are quick to accept advice and allow it to guide us, bringing Jehovah's blessing. Paragraph 5. What achievements could have made King David become proud? David had many reasons to become proud. He was well known as a skilled musician, chosen to play for King Saul. He was anointed by Jehovah to be the next king and was empowered by God's Spirit. He gained fame for defeating enemies, including the giant Goliath, and became very popular among the people. With such accomplishments, he could have thought he didn't need advice from others. Yet David remained humble, showing us that success should never make us ignore wise counsel. Paragraph 6. How do we know that David welcomed advice? We know David welcomed advice because even after becoming king, he surrounded himself with men who could guide him, as shown in 1 Chronicles 27:32-34. This proves he valued counsel. Also, earlier in his life, he listened to Abigail, the wife of Nabal. She spoke to him with wisdom and urged him not to take vengeance. David humbly accepted her words and avoided making a serious mistake, as recorded in 1 Samuel 25:2-3. This shows that David had the quality of humility and was willing to benefit from advice, no matter who gave it. Paragraph 7. What lessons can we learn from David's example? From David's example, we learn the importance of remaining humble, no matter our abilities or position. Even though David was talented, famous, and had authority, he never assumed he knew everything. As Ecclesiastes 4:13 reminds us, better is a poor but wise child than an old but foolish king who no longer knows how to take a warning. This teaches us that wisdom comes from listening to good advice. Like David, we should be ready to accept counsel from anyone Jehovah uses, regardless of their status. Doing so helps us avoid serious mistakes that could harm us and those around us. Paragraph 8. Why was Jonathan qualified to give advice to David? Jonathan was qualified to give advice because he had a close relationship with Jehovah and also personal experience in dealing with his father, King Saul. As 1 Samuel 29-13 shows, Jonathan understood Saul's thinking and actions, so he was in a position to give David reliable guidance. This teaches us that the best advice often comes from those who not only love Jehovah but also understand the specific challenges we are facing. Paragraph 9. Who should be consulted when we need advice? Explain. When we need advice, we should consult those who have a close relationship with Jehovah and experience in the area where we need help. As Proverbs 13:20 says, "The one walking with the wise will become wise, but the one who has dealings with the stupid will fare badly." This means that the people we choose to consult can strongly influence the outcome. For example, a young brother seeking a marriage mate may benefit from advice based on Bible principles from an unmarried friend. However, he is likely to receive more specific and practical help if he talks to a spiritually mature couple who have a happy, long-lasting marriage and know him personally. Paragraph 10. What will we now consider? Now we will consider why it is important to keep an open mind and heart when receiving advice, and also whether it is wise to ask others to make decisions for us. These points will help us see how to benefit more fully from Jehovah's guidance. Paragraph 11 and 12. Part A. Sometimes, what might we do? Sometimes, instead of sincerely seeking advice, we might only look for confirmation of a decision we have already made. In that case, our mind and heart are not really open. This can lead us to ignore wise counsel and make choices that bring bad consequences. Paragraph 11 and 12. Part B. What did King Rehoboam do when he had to make an important decision? When King Rehoboam had to decide how to respond to the people's request to lighten their burden, he first consulted the older men who had served with Solomon, as recorded in 1 Kings 12:2-7. Their advice was wise and peaceful, but he rejected it. Instead, he listened to his younger friends, whose counsel encouraged harshness, as shown in 1 Kings 12:8-14. Rehoboam seems to have already decided what he wanted to do and was just looking for someone to agree with him. As a result, the nation was divided, and he faced continual problems, according to 1 Kings 12:16-19. Paragraph 13. How can we know if we have an open mind and heart? We can know if we have an open mind and heart by examining how we react to advice. If we ask for counsel but quickly reject it just because it is not what we wanted to hear, then our heart is not truly open. Rehoboam's example warns us of the danger of such an attitude. To test ourselves, we might ask, am I willing to listen carefully even when the advice challenges my own opinion? If the answer is yes, then we are showing the humility needed to benefit from wise counsel. Paragraph 14. When we receive advice, what must we remember? Illustrate. When we receive advice, we must remember that our heart is treacherous, as stated in Jeremiah 17:9. This means that we may be inclined to ignore counsel that does not match what we already want. For example, if a brother receives a job offer that requires long absences from his family, an elder may remind him of his responsibility to care for his family's spiritual needs, as emphasized in Ephesians 6:4 and 1 Timothy 5:8. If the brother rejects that advice and keeps searching until he hears what he wants, he is not truly seeking counsel. This shows that sometimes the advice we most need is the very advice we least want to accept. Paragraph 15. What must we be careful not to do, and why? We must be careful not to ask others to make decisions for us. As Galatians 6:4 and 5 reminds us, each one will carry his own load. This means that while it is wise to seek advice from God's Word and from mature Christians, the final responsibility rests with us. If we allow others to decide for us, we might avoid personal responsibility, but we also miss the chance to show Jehovah what is really in our heart. Our choices reveal our faith and loyalty, so we must think carefully and make our own decisions, guided by Bible principles. Paragraph 16. What situation developed in Corinth regarding meat sacrificed to idols, and who had the responsibility to decide whether to eat such meat? In the first-century congregation in Corinth, there was a situation regarding meat that had been sacrificed to idols and then sold in the marketplace. Some Christians, understanding that an idol is nothing in the world and that there is no God but one, 1 Corinthians 8:4, felt free to eat such meat. Others, however, felt that eating it would trouble their conscience, as shown in 1 Corinthians 8:7. The Apostle Paul reminded them in 1 Corinthians 10:25 and 26 that they could make their own decision in harmony with their conscience. Importantly, Paul never told the Corinthians to make decisions for others or to simply copy what someone else did. Each Christian had the personal responsibility to decide, remembering that ultimately, as Romans 14:10-12 says, each of us will render an account for himself to God. Paragraph 17. What could happen if we just copy what others do? Give an example. If we simply copy what others do, we could weaken our own conscience. For example, decisions about medical treatments involving blood fractions are a matter of personal conscience. As Romans 14:4 reminds us, each Christian stands or falls to his own master, and Hebrews 5:14 shows that we must train our powers of discernment by constant use. If we avoid making our own decision and just imitate someone else, we will not strengthen our conscience or deepen our understanding of Bible principles. Instead, we should study the Scriptures, pray for Jehovah's guidance, and then, if necessary, seek advice from mature Christians after we have done our own research. In this way, we take responsibility for our choice and show Jehovah our loyalty. Paragraph 18. What has Jehovah done for us? Jehovah has shown great trust in us by allowing us to make our own decisions. He provides us with His Word, the Bible, and also gives us wise friends who can help us apply Bible principles. In this way, He has fulfilled His responsibility as a loving Father, just as Proverbs 3:21-23 encourages us to safeguard wisdom and thinking ability. This shows Jehovah's deep care for us and His desire that we succeed in life. Paragraph 19. How can we continue to make Jehovah happy? We can continue to make Jehovah happy by maturing spiritually, learning to make thoughtful, wise decisions that reflect His principles. Just as parents are joyful when their children grow into responsible adults, Jehovah is pleased when He sees us seek advice, apply His Word, and make decisions that bring honor to Him. Each wise choice we make shows our love and loyalty to our Heavenly Father. Now let's move on to answering the review questions of this article. To benefit from good advice, why must I be humble and modest? Because humility and modesty help me recognize that I do not have all the wisdom or experience needed to make good choices on my own. When I am humble, I accept advice from Jehovah's Word and from mature Christians, and I benefit from it instead of letting it run off like water off a stone. Next question. To benefit from good advice, why must I keep an open mind and heart? Because if my mind and heart are closed, I may only seek confirmation for what I already want to do, like King Rehoboam did. Having an open mind and heart allows me to listen carefully, even when the advice is not what I want to hear, and it helps me avoid serious mistakes. Next question. To benefit from good advice, why must I make my own decisions? Because Jehovah has given me the responsibility to carry my own load, as Galatians 6:4-5 says. While I can seek advice, I must not expect others to make choices for me. Making my own decisions strengthens my conscience, shows gratitude to Jehovah for trusting me, and brings Him joy when my choices honor Him.